What are your first steps of writing a new comedy?
With Airplane, the process was we saw an old movie called 0 Hour, 1957, black and white movie, had the same plot. Guy goes up with PTSD on an airplane, and the stewardess is his girlfriend, and there's food poisoning, and he has to fly the plane down. So that was written by Arthur Haley, and so he knew all the ins and outs and the intricacies of and the importance of putting a character in there. And so we followed that. We just put in the jokes, and we landed at Paramount. They had us rewrite more stuff on it, which improved it greatly. And for Naked Gun, we based it on Police Squad, which was based on a 1958 TV series starring Lee Marvin called M Squad. And so we just did, 6 episodes, and ABC couldn't cancel it fast enough because it got no audience, even with only 3 networks. So, but people didn't get it. I say all my flops are just ahead of their time. That's what happened there. And so we wanted to do a movie of that. We thought it was canceled because it was on TV. And so we'll do a movie on it. And because we did Ruthless People with Dale Launer, we knew the importance of character and to craft this 3-act structure. So we did that in Naked Gun and used some of the jokes from Police Squad. And we started out with what was the character, what was the character's problem, what was the love story, and then what was the 3rd act, the big 3rd act. So for all the Naked Guns, we started out with what was the relationship between Leslie and Priscilla, and the final, what we always called it the final fly down because of Airplane. It was the baseball game. So and in Naked Gun 2.5, it was a big environmental speech in front of the president. And in 3, it was the Oscars. So we always had this big public event, and that's how we started it. And in the scary movies, we always started out with a character, and we started out with Anna Faris and Simon Rex meeting, boy meets girl, boy gets girl, boy loses girl, and boy gets girl. And they resolved the problem because I think she always needed a family and needed to provide a home for her son. And so actually the audience, as stupid and silly as the movie was, they did take that seriously. Same with Airplane. We were kind of surprised. Audiences really were nervous about. They wanted Bob Hayes to be able to fly the plane down. So, and in Naked and Scary Movie 4, it was kind of the same thing with the relationship between Anna Faris and Craig Bierko. So, and all those were big hits. Just really, really good movies.
And just as a side, you said flops, your flops.
Well,
I believe you said you really haven't had any flops because they become cult classics.
Yeah, the flops have become, I always say, Top Secret didn't really open that well at the box office, and also the BASEketball. Baseball did not open big. But it all eventually, they all made their money back for the studios. And then they became, but in the 20 or 30 years since, oh my God, it's like nobody can believe they weren't big hits. So, I'm very proud of those movies because they're so well regarded now. It's nice.
I believe Pat Proft says that one of the ways he works on a comedy movie is to watch as many of the movies in the same genre as possible. How much of this is your process?
Pat Proft has said that when he sits down to write a movie, he wants to see as many of the movies in the genre as possible. And a good example of this was when we were writing Star of Malta, and we saw about 20 movies, film noir, but we had one basic movie that we were very lucky to find called Detour, and Pat and I call that our 0 hour, because we really based the movie on Detour, that whole love story and that plot. But Detour, coincidentally did not, or curiously, had like 2 acts, and then it seems they ran out of budget, so it ended. So Pat and I and Mike McManus, our co-writer, watched about 20 other film noir movies, and we cobbed together a great overall plot. And it's very clever, really, without being merely clever. And we got a 3-act structure out of it, and you can't predict what's going to happen, and you can't predict the love story, and it's a real page turn, and it's funny all the way. So I can't wait till we do it, and we plan to get started shooting it in the fall or first of next year.
Here in the States?
Yeah, probably at Warner Brothers.
Okay. And you said 7 years to actually find financing?
Yes, it took us 7 years, yeah. Well, we had financing, and then it falls through, and then, you get stuff, and, it's always, I've kissed a lot of frogs.
But you never gave up. Why not say maybe the universe is saying it's not meant to be? Why keep going?
Well, I never give up because my experience has been that I actually do the things that I dream of doing. So Airplane was a real dream. Imagine that, coming from Milwaukee, and then directing a hit movie that's now, it's very highly regarded. It's always Airplane is always in the top 5 comedy movies, and I object to any other 4 movies being in that top 5. So so it's so that's why, and we never were going to give up. We stayed with Airplane for 5 years. It took us 5 years, and because we couldn't get it financed, that's why we did Kentucky Fried Movie. It was a movie that we could do. So while I'm waiting to get Star Malta financed, I've done other projects, doing MASTERCRASH. I wrote the book with Jerry and Jim, Surely You Can't Be Serious. So I'm never not doing a project, and right now I'm redoing my office. I got to be doing something, and I'm okay. I have a fun life. I'm not like wringing my hands, being sad about not doing a movie. I'm kind of sad about having Naked Gun taking away, but it'll all work out. It's like we'll be able to do counterintelligence.
So it's part of the process, waiting, getting turned down, waiting.
It's been, I have gone through this so many times, coming up with a great idea, waiting for it to get done, having a lot of people say you can't do it, getting it done, having it be a big hit, or having it not be a hit and then get appreciated, big time 20 years later. So why should I ever give up on anything? And I love my ideas, and I want to do them, and they're fun to do, and they're so low budget that nobody ever loses money on them. No studio ever lost any money on any of these movies. They just, they were so low budget, and then it's said to have a long tail. That means it's got DVD, it's got streaming, it's got video, all this stuff. So the studio is fine. They're making plenty of money on it.
Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. Here is a complimentary question from our book Story Questions.